Hi, everyone. Today I'm with Greg O'Connor. Greg O'Connor is a contributing author for the Mortgage Manager Mastery book. This is a book for sales leaders in the mortgage industry, whether you're new or experienced. Greg wrote a terrific chapter on vision to action, the sales game plan for originator. Greg is the EVP and Director of Sales at M&T Bank and previously with Bayview and Homeward Residential. Greg, thanks for joining us today. And I loved your chapter. And I want to talk about what's the big idea that you want people reading your chapter to think about as a manager?
Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate it, right? Focus on being brilliant at the basics. Don't get seduced into all the sexy things that you think might help you grow and scale and be more effective. Look, in my humble opinion, it's about really being repetitious and disciplined about the basic fundamentals. I
And the
think
basic,
yeah.
well, the basic fundamentals, what would that be for you? What do you think managers should look at it? It sounds like it's a lot about conversations.
Be relatable. I talk, right? For those that read, they'll see storytelling. I always say I'm a storyteller at heart. And I think, look, at the end of the day, sales is about relationships. I always say we're in the relationship business, the byproduct of which is we get the opportunity to help somebody with their home ownership needs. But at the end of the day, it's about a relationship first. And I think at times, oftentimes, people forget to remember that if I don't establish a relationship, so if I don't have high relatability, and if I don't establish and use perhaps some storytelling to kind of share, some of your personality, that you won't, quote unquote, get the sale. And so I think that's one of the critical foundation items of the basics, right? Just be yourself. I say it to my kids all the time, right? Just focus on conversations and storytelling, ask questions. That is in my opinion, one of the most crucial fundamentals of the basics, because that then gives you an opportunity to ask the next question, answer the next question, and develop that rapport.
Great points. Can't agree with you anymore. Really, it's really true. And so, talk about like an action step that a manager could take tomorrow to implement this strategy.
Yeah, I think it comes down to that. I like to think about like trying to lay out a disciplined approach, right? So plan your action as opposed to just taking action without a plan, because that
Mhm.
has a tendency to lead to a lack of consistency and then pause in the process. So I think step one is maybe before you jump off, right? Lay out a plan for what you think you want to do, and then try to stay disciplined in following through. Don't checklist it, right? But if you don't have a plan, you'll get to a point, a turn in the road, and you might not know which way to go, right? So I think step one is start with laying out a plan. Don't overcomplicate the plan, but some simple points, and then really refine those things over time, but continue to come back to those basic disciplines, the repetition. You say it to me, Pat. You got to get comfortable, and you can get comfortable by practice,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so I think lay out a plan, whatever that may be, stick to that, get comfortable within it, and then that can give you the basis with which to be able to say, hey, did I get the outcome or the result that I wanted? And if not, you can refer back to the plan to look at where you can tune that.
Great points. Can't agree with you anymore. That's really true. If you look at the next few years, and obviously our industry is changing dramatically, what opportunities do you see for managers?
Look, I think the market originations market in the last couple of years has been interesting, right? It's thinned the herd a little bit, perhaps. We're all getting a little bit older, so I'm excited about some of the youth coming into the market, right? We don't see that enough. But I think the exciting thing to me is we've got a lot of talent in the industry now, not the numbers that we had, if we rewind the clock 3, 4, 5 years. But I think there are folks that have learned in a more difficult market, a higher interest rate market, higher relative to what we had in 20 and 21, but that also have new skills, right? That can look
Mhm.
at the things like social media and some of the technology and digital capabilities better than, say, someone like myself, who's a bit of an old timer now. And so I think blending the basics with some of the new skills that a lot of the younger folks have learned, I'm excited about the opportunity for that. I'm concerned at the same time that we've got a smaller population of younger folks, and we've got to do our jobs as leaders in the industry to try and bring people in to cultivate the next leaders.
Well, that's music to my ears. I agree with you completely. So, any takeaways that you would like to share today that you haven't already mentioned?
No, I think the punchline is where I started. Don't get seduced into that which we think is going to be the next big bang grand idea. It really does always come back to being really consistent with the fundamentals, being engaging, being relatable, and being repetitious in the approach and having a discipline on that. It's when we fail to follow through and stay consistent on those things that we tend to see results trail off. So I think that's kind of my takeaway.
Well, that's a
Be
great take.
brilliant at the basics.
Yeah, well, that's a great takeaway. And I want to thank everybody for listening today. And certainly, you want to go dive deeper with Greg's insight, go to Amazon.com or mortgagemanagermastery.com to purchase the book. Thanks so much, Greg.
Thank you, Pat.